Welcome to this edition of SKNIS Week in Review, a program highlighting the top stories of the work of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis for the past week. Here's a look at some of the highlights for the week of November 11th to 17th, 2022. Government highlights first 100 days in office. St. Kitts and Nevis signs MOU with Italy. Ministers' Youth Forum dubbed most innovative and interactive in years. And 13 inaugural cruise calls expected for the 2022-2023 season. I am your presenter, Sherma Matthew. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis, led by Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, celebrated its first 100 days in office on Monday, November 14th, highlighting several major achievements to date. Among notable achievements are the appointment of the first female Governor General's deputy, female Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, payment of honoraria to government employees who worked on the front line during the COVID-19 pandemic, introduction of a financial assistance program for any child in need of medical care only available overseas, payment of economic costs for all nationals studying at the University of the West Indies.
Your government began working from day zero and has not rested. We have been swift in our actions in some areas and more deliberate and methodical in other areas. But in all spheres, we have been prudent and pragmatic. My fellow cabinet colleagues and I have been working tirelessly. We have been attending key regional and international meetings where we are building and strengthening bonds of friendship and partnership to improve the well-being of our people. We have been engaging our local ministerial staff and community organizations to gain an even better understanding of the critical needs of our people and the mechanisms we should employ to solve their problems.
Dr. Drew added that the government is off to a good start and will not be complacent. In fact, he pledged to be proactive, adding that, and I quote, "We will not be content with average, we will strive for excellence. We will not be boastful, we will serve with humility, honesty, and compassion." The 2022-2023 cruise season will see 13 ships making their maiden voyage to St. Kitts, a clear signal of recovery in the tourism sector and cruise officials growing confidence in the destination's tourism product. To date, 4 cruise vessels have made their inaugural calls. They are the Seabourn Venture on October 10th, Carnival Spirit on November 19th, Voyager of the Seas on November 12th, and Ocean Explorer on November 15th. A notable inaugural call this month takes place on November 24th, when the world's largest cruise ship, the Wonder of the Seas, is expected to call on St. Kitts.
It shows that we're working. When we take our trips, we can sit here and expect business to come to us. So it is absolutely necessary for us to go out there and find the business. We can sit in our small corner of this world and expect business to come to us. So we've been working in the ministry and we've been able to get the calls to the destination. In fact, we're having the biggest ship in the world calling here on the 24th of November. That's from Royal Caribbean, and that would bring a significant amount of passengers to our shores, which means spend as well. Once the passengers come off and spend, it means money. Today, I got word that our destination was awarded another award, and we've been awarded the best hiking destination by the Caribbean Journal Caribbean Travel's Choice Award. And so we're working. We are promoting the destination. We continue at the ministry and at the authority, the hardworking staff. We continue to promote our destination so that we can get back to pre-pandemic figures.
Tourism authorities are working to find innovative ways to enrich the authentic tourism experience in St. Kitts, encouraging visitors to venture deeper. Effective Tuesday, November 15th, 2022, vehicular traffic exiting Port Zante from the Sands Complex end can now turn left into Bastia, providing easier access to the city center, especially for tour and taxi operators. This was according to the Honorable Marsha Henderson, Minister of Tourism, during a special Prime Minister's press conference on November 15 at the St. Kitts Marriott Ballroom, where she updated citizens and residents at home and abroad on achievements in the sector to date.
One of the things we were able to do for the tour operators and taxi operators is get an assessment done on the traffic flowing into Bastia out of Port Zante. To turn into town from Port Zante. From Port Zante East, very well. Not down by Rams. Y'all know what I mean. Not from Sands. which of course results in our visitors being able to have the scenic view into Bastia. So we've worked hard with our partners, with the police and with Public Works, and we're doing an assessment of the traffic for a trial period so that we can, at the end of the month, make an informed decision as to the flow of traffic. So we want to thank our partners for working with us on that initiative as well.
Although the traffic lights will not signal a left turn arrow, proper signage were erected to show the change in the flow of traffic. St. Kitts and Nevis is celebrating Global Entrepreneurship Week from November 14th to 20th under the theme, Building Forward Better, Creating Equality and Equity through Entrepreneurship. A minister responsible for small business and entrepreneurship, the Honorable Samuel Duggins, delivered an address on Monday, November 14th to mark the occasion. He noted that the government continues to applaud entrepreneurs and small business operators who continue to operate through these difficult times.
My ministry, and by extension the government, is committed to the continued development of the sector, as we fully understand that small businesses are not only the driver for growth, but also the lifeblood of the economy. Through the activities and support programs of the Small Business Development Center, we will continue to provide the necessary technical assistance, which is vital for growth and development of the sector.
Minister Duggins declared GEW open and saluted all national entrepreneurs and ecosystem supports partners who make up the economic building block in St. Kitts and Nevis. Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, has made the diversification of the domestic economy a major part of the government's agenda and reiterated the government's plans for the construction sector and small businesses.
We are going to launch a housing program with our CBI program to stir construction industry, put our men fundamentally who work in that area to work, and I hope to see some women in that field as well, because women should learn to run blocks too. I see some women running blocks and they're good at it. There's no difference. And so that will create a number of opportunities for our people. It will create home ownership, opportunities to build real wealth and have collateral to approach a bank, which you can use to borrow to do businesses and your children to study.
The government has made it a priority to strengthen the Federation's economic buffers. Job creation remains at the heart of the government's development plan. With more well-paying jobs being created, the goal is to reduce the number of persons relying on the various social assistance programs. The Ministry of Small Business and Creative Economy is tasked with transforming the economic landscape of St. Kitts and Nevis, said the Honorable Samuel Duggins, as he expressed his vision for local producers.
It is a future where all entrepreneurs have a space to thrive, where a small business of today becomes a big business of tomorrow, and not a society where small businesses stay small businesses forever. Because if we are truly talking about growth, then we must recognize that growth means getting bigger, getting better, becoming more efficient, expanding our wings, not just within our jurisdiction. Why can't we have a multinational company that was started here in St. Kitts and developed throughout the region and expand across the world?
Minister Duggins also indicated that the government will focus on diversifying the local economy in an effort to boost local production and maximize the potential of the local population. Transforming St. Kitts and Nevis into a sustainable island state will depend on the capacity of local producers to advance with modern technology in an effort to be competitive in the international marketplace. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, pledged to get more persons to capitalize on scholarship opportunities offered to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis so that citizens and residents can benefit.
This is something that we campaign on, indicating that we are going to do all that we can to ensure that our people in the Federation get these opportunities. And since assuming the role of the Minister of Education, we have put a scholarship desk within the Ministry of Education so that every scholarship that comes to this country, whether through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or through HR, the Ministry of Education would have that, and we would also make sure that we get people to apply for these scholarships. And we are going to identify the persons to fit them, because we need our own speech therapists to assist our children with autism.
The Education Minister added that Germany has answered the Federation's call for scholarships. He encouraged citizens and residents to take advantage of the opportunities to gain a higher education. The Ministers' Youth Forum has received high praise from scores of young people in attendance who hailed the event as the most innovative and interactive session in years. The event was held at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort Ballroom and was facilitated by the Honorable Iseline Phillip, Junior Minister responsible for youth empowerment.
And that youth forum was an opportunity for us to engage with the young people. It was actually very well attended and it went very well. It was well facilitated by myself and coordinated and organized by all of the youth officers in the youth department. So we had the entire youth department here. And so the session was a facilitated session where I asked questions to the young people who were here to kind of get a sense of what empowerment means to them, what they're looking for, how COVID-19 would have impacted them. And we got some very clear, very complex, very well thought out and maturely thought out questions and answers in relation to the impact of the pandemic and what a COVID-19 pandemic recovery would look like. And I'm happy to have had Minister Duggins and Deputy Prime Minister and the Prime Minister here to also receive some of those questions and respond to questions from the young people. I believe this was one of the first forums where we had so many ministers showing, and it's a demonstration of the commitment that this administration has to young people and youth empowerment. And so I'm very pleased with how the session went.
Patrice Matthew regularly attends the annual Ministers' Youth Forum, including 5 in the last 7 years.
This year's presentation was mostly different from the last ones I attended, and it was more interactive and more informative. The line of questioning from the junior minister who was residing over the forum, and she issued out questions, and then we also have to answer the questions. And then we had now had a chance to interact with her with asking her questions. What stood out to me was the vibrant energy from the ministers and the vision that they had to push forward, and they seemed more workable.
The Ministers' Youth Forum was one activity celebrating November as Youth Month. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis signed a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) with the government of Italy on Tuesday, 15th November 2022, during the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP27. The terms of the MOU are in relation to Italy's continued support of the Federation's environmental action and fight for climate justice. Cheryl Jeffords, Conservation Officer in the Ministry of Environment, said that the MOU allows for CARICOM member states to, and I quote, access much-needed finance to combat climate change and climate change vulnerability. Projects that are directly related to the adaptation and mitigation will be supported through the MOU, end of quote. Meanwhile, Minister of Environment and Climate Action, the Honorable Dr. Joy L. Clark, said Italy has been a long-standing partner with St. Kitts and Nevis and that the European nation, through the MOU, has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting the Federation in its green transition. The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis joined the international community in observing World Diabetes Day on Monday, 14th November. In a national address to mark the occasion, Prime Minister and Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, stressed the importance of early detection in the management and controlling of chronic non-communicable diseases like diabetes.
When diabetes is not detected early and is improperly controlled, the health consequences are dire. Diabetes can damage the heart, blood vessels, kidneys, eyes, and nerves, resulting in lower limb amputations and other serious complications such as physical and physiological disabilities, with accompanying job loss and reduced household income, which may result in far-reaching psychological problems. Notably, diabetes is one of the prominent chronic non-communicable diseases that countries are grappling with, and its occurrence is a universal concern, especially when, with much alarm, the current epidemiological data continue to reveal its escalating prevalence.
A week of activities was held from November 13th to 19th, 2022, to promote awareness of diabetes and to propel citizens to access the essential primary health care services available to persons with diabetes and to garner greater societal support to mitigate against the negative implications of the disease. St. Kitts and Nevis paid tribute to nationals who died in the two world wars on Sunday, November 13th, which was observed in Commonwealth countries as Remembrance Day. Attending the solemn ceremony were Governor General's Deputy, Her Excellency Marcella Liebert, as well as members of the Federal Cabinet, led by Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, members of the National Assembly, senior government officials, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, as well as members of uniformed bodies and the general public. Wreaths were placed by the various lead officials in attendance. That was the SKNIS Week in Review for November 11th to 17th, 2022. I am Sherima Matthew. See you next week as we continue to update you, the general public, on what's happening in and around the Federation.